Hello, everybody. Pastor Rick, Broadman Baptist Church. This is the Broadman Word for July 19th, 2021. Sorry if it's a little late today. It's been pretty busy. But I want to talk to you today about the most important person in the world and some perspective on that. And this comes from the devotional Radical Wisdom. Listen, here we go. First of all, who is the most important person in the world? It's whoever's right in front of you. I know that might be a bit of a head scratcher. You could think of famous world leaders, politicians, actors, athletes, religious leaders. You could think of lots of people who've accomplished great things to say, geez, maybe that was the greatest person in the world. No, they might have been great, but the most important person in the world in a Christian perspective and for the purposes of applying Christianity to your life is whoever is right in front of you at that moment. Within seconds of shaking somebody's hand or whatever greeting you exchange, you need to be engaged with them and starting to figure out a lot of things. What their background might be, who they are, how you might connect and relate, what their needs might be. Have they heard the gospel before? Did they have a bad experience with church? Did they have a okay experience with church? Maybe they've never been to church. Maybe they're socioeconomically deprived of some kind of class. Maybe they are advantaged in some kind of class. You don't know these things, but there needs to start to be an immediate connection. And the reason is you've only got a little bit of time and to make an impression on this individual about yourself and about your faith. And so in order to be the reconciling force that we need to be, that needs to be the most important person in the world at that moment. And a lot of times we don't take the time, or maybe we don't know what to do. But let's take a look at our supreme example of life, Jesus Christ. Jesus stopped for people. He was undoubtedly a busy guy, had a lot of territory to cover, had a lot of things to get accomplished, and he didn't have just a whole bunch of time to do it. But he stopped for people, and we must too. Jesus stopped for the woman at the well, the centurion, the sick servant, tax collectors, people in a tree, lepers, little children, and many more. Jesus stopped for people. And at that moment, in front of the creator of the world, the Son of God, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, that individual was the most important person in the world. He faced them. He loved them no matter what. And we need to take that on. How many times do you see somebody in need of help and we just move on by? Could be anything. Somebody in a store, somebody on the side of the road, Many times we might be scared. We don't know who the person is. Maybe we think we don't have time. Perhaps there's other reasons, we don't think about it. But we need to, because Jesus would have stopped. And so we should too. Being busy, and especially being busy and being late for something, is one of the enemy's greatest tools of separation. If he can keep you busy and distracted and behind, he can keep a degree of separation between you and the mission you were created for. He can keep a degree of separation between you and a prayerfulness to accomplish God's work in a given day. He can keep a degree of separation between you and the simplest of things that might help somebody come to know the love of Jesus Christ. So we need to be on the watch for people who need help of all kinds. We need to be the people who stop and make that individual the most important person in the world for a little while anyway. The difference in situations between somebody stopping or somebody not stopping to see what's going on with somebody, or simply to greet an individual and see how they're doing, learn a little bit about them. You'd be surprised how many places you regularly go. You probably use the same grocery store, the same home store, whatever it is you regularly purchase, your activities. You probably go to about the same places, and there's people working there. And over time, you could really get to know a lot about the individuals that are there if you are an individual who will stop and make them important for a little while. It's critical for us to do that in order to make the kind of connections, the reconciling connections that are necessary that will open the door for us to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. First, it must be seen in us and come from us. Then it could be spoken, and it might just have some effect at that point. So you can talk a lot about loving God. You can talk about Christianity. You can talk a lot about your walk and about your church. There's a lot of things that you can talk about. But if you don't focus on the person in front of you, if you don't make whoever it is, the person you're passing by on your way into the grocery store, the person at the next pump over at the gas station, the person next to you at the coffee machine in the convenience store, or the Starbucks, wherever it is, if you don't stop like Jesus would have stopped and make them important for just a little while, maybe longer if that's what it takes, then you're missing the opportunity to be the ambassador of the gospel that you're called to be. We must focus on them. In order to focus on somebody, you need to be able to stop. So remove the barriers. That's the key for today. Whatever's keeping you from stopping, if it's that you don't know enough about the Bible, fix that. If it's that you don't have enough time, fix that. If it's that you don't know what to do, fix that. If you don't have the resources, fix it. Whatever it is, remove the barriers, roll away the stone, get it done, and let there be nothing between you and the people in front of you, because they are and should be the most important people in the world right then and right now. And it's your job to reconcile them to the cross, if it is all possible. All right, listen, I love you. You have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.